Job chapter 1. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was blameless and upright, one who feared God and turned away from evil. There were born to him 7 sons and 3 daughters. He had 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and very many servants, so that this man was the greatest of all the people of the east. His sons used to go and hold a feast in the house of each day on his day, and they would send and invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. And when the days of the feast had run their course, Job would send and sanctify them, and he would rise early in the morning and offer burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, "It may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." Thus Job did continually. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. The Lord said to Satan, "Whence have you come?" Satan answered the Lord, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down on it." And the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man, who fears God and turns away from evil?" Then Satan answered the Lord, "Does Job fear God for naught? Hast thou not put a hedge about him and his house and all that he has on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. But put forth thy hand now, and touch all that he has, and he will curse thee to thy face." And the Lord said to Satan, "Behold, all that he has is in your power. Only upon himself do not put forth your hand." So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. Now there was a day when his sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger to Job and said, "The oxen were plowing and the asses feeding beside them, and the Sabeans fell upon them and took them, and slew the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to tell you." While he was yet speaking, there came another, and said, "The fire of God fell from heaven and burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them, and I alone have escaped to tell you." While he was yet speaking, there came another, and said, "The Chaldeans formed 3 companies, and made a raid upon the camels, and took them, and slew the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to tell you." While he was yet speaking, there came another, and said, "Your sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house, and behold, a great wind came across the wilderness and struck the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young people, and they are dead, and I alone have escaped to tell you." Then Job arose and rent his robe and shaved his head and fell upon the ground and worshipped. And he said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked shall I return. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." In all this Job did not sin or charge God with wrong. Job chapter 2. Again there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them to present himself before the Lord. And the Lord said to Satan, "Whence have you come?" Satan answered the Lord, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down on it." And the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man, who fears God and turns away from evil? He still holds fast in his integrity, although you moved me against him to destroy him without cause." Then Satan answered the Lord, "Skin for skin. All that a man has he will give for his life. But put forth thy hand now, and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face." And the Lord said to Satan, "Behold, he is in your power, only spare his life." So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord, and afflicted Job with loathsome sores from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head. And he took a potsherd with which to scrape himself, and sat among the ashes. Then his wife said to him, "Do you still hold fast to your integrity? Curse God and die." But he said to her, "You speak as one of the foolish women would speak. Shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil?" In all this Job did not sin with his lips. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that had come upon him, they came each from his own place: Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite. They made an appointment together to come to condole with him and comfort him. And when they saw him from afar, they did not recognize him, and they raised their voices and wept. And they rent their robes and sprinkled dust upon their heads toward heaven. And they sat with him on the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and no one spoke a word to him, for they saw that his suffering was very great. Job chapter 3. After this, Job opened his mouth and cursed the day of his birth. And Job said, "Let the day perish wherein I was born, and the night which said, A man-child is conceived. Let that day be darkness. May God above not seek it, nor light shine upon it. Let gloom and deep darkness claim it. Let clouds dwell upon it. Let the blackness of the day terrify it. That night let thick darkness seize it. Let it not rejoice among the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Yea, let that night be barren. Let no joyful cry be heard in it. Let those curse it who curse the day, who are skilled to rouse up Leviathan. Let the stars of its dawn be dark. Let it hope for light, but have none, nor see the eyelids of the morning, because it did not shut the doors of my mother's womb, nor hide trouble from my eyes. Why did I not die at birth, come forth from the womb and expire? Why did the knees receive me? Oh, why did the breast that I should suck? For then I should have lain down and been quiet. I should have slept. Then I should have been at rest with kings and counselors of the earth who rebuilt ruins for themselves, or with princes who had gold, who filled their houses with silver. Or why was I not as a hidden, untimely birth, as infants that never see the light? There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary are at rest. There the prisoners are at ease together. They hear not the voice of the taskmaster. The small and the great are there, and the slave is free from his master. Why is light given to him that is in misery, and life to the bitter in soul, who long for death, but it comes not, and dig for it more than hid treasures, who rejoice exceedingly and are glad when they find the grave? Why is light given to man whose way is hid, whom God has hedged in? For my sighing comes as my bread, and my groanings are poured out like water. For the thing that I fear comes upon me, and what I dread befalls me. I am not at ease, nor am I quiet. I have no rest, but trouble comes. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered, If one ventures a word with you, will you be offended? Yet who can keep from speaking? Behold, you have instructed many, and you have strengthened the weak hands. Your words have upheld him who is stumbling, and you have made firm the feeble knees. But now it has come to you, and you are impatient. It touches you, and you are dismayed. Is it not your fear of God, your confidence, and the integrity of your ways your hope? Think now, who is that innocent ever perished? Or where were the upright cut off? As I have seen, those who plow iniquity and sow trouble reap the same. By the breath of God they perish, and by the blast of his anger they are consumed. The roar of the lion, the voice of the fierce lion, the teeth of the young lions are broken. The strong lion perishes for lack of prey, and the whelps of the lioness are scattered. Now a word was brought to me stealthily. My ear received the whisper of it. Amid thoughts from visions of the night, when deep sleep falls on men, dread came upon me, and trembling, which made all my bones shake. A spirit glided past my face, the hair on my flesh stood up. It stood still, but I could not discern its appearance. A form was before my eyes. There was silence, then I heard a voice. Can mortal man be righteous before God? Can a man be pure before his Maker? Even in his servants he puts no trust, and his angels he charges with error. How much more those who dwell in houses of clay, whose foundation is in the dust, who are crushed before the moth, between the morning and the evening are destroyed. They perish forever without any regarding it. If their tent cord is plucked up within them, do they not die, and without that wisdom? Job chapter 5. Call now, is there anyone who will answer you? To which of the holy ones will you turn? Surely vexation kills the fool, and jealousy slays the simple. I have seen the fool taking root, but suddenly I curse his dwelling. His sons are far from safety, and they are crushed in the gate, and there is no one to deliver them. His harvest the hungry eat, and he takes it even out of his thorns, and the thirsty pant after his wealth. For affliction does not come from the dust, nor does trouble sprout from the ground, but man is born to trouble, and the sparks fly upward. As for me, I would seek God, and to God I would commit my cause, who does great things in unsearchable unsearchable, marvelous things without number. He gives rain upon the earth and sends water upon the fields. He sets on high those who are lowly, and those who mourn are lifted to safety. He frustrates the devices of the crafty so that their hands achieve no success. He takes the wise in their own craftiness, and the schemes of the wily are brought to a quick end. They meet with darkness in the daytime and grope at noonday as in the night. But he saves the fatherless from their mouth, the needy from the hand of the mighty. So the poor have hope, and injustice shuts her mouth. Behold, happy is the man whom God reproves. Therefore despise not the chastening of the Almighty, for he wounds, but he binds up. He smites, but his hands heal. He will deliver you from 6 troubles. In 7 there shall no evil touch you. In famine he will redeem you from death, and in war from the power of the sword. You shall be hid from the scourge of the tongue, and shall not fear destruction when it comes. At destruction and famine you shall laugh, and shall not fear the beasts of the earth. For you shall be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with you. You shall know that your tent is safe, and you shall inspect your fold and miss nothing. You shall know also that your descendants shall be many, and your offspring as the grass of the earth. You shall come to your grave in ripe old age, as a shock of grain comes up to the threshing floor in its season. Lo, this we have searched out, it is true. Hear and know it for your own good. Chapter 6. Then Job answered, "O that my vexation were weighed, and all my calamity laid in the balances, for then it would be heavier than the sand of the sea. Therefore my words have been rash, for the arrows of the Almighty are in me. My spirit drinks their poison, and terrors of God are arrayed against me. Does the wild ass bray when he has grass, or the ox low over his fodder? Can that which is tasteless be eaten without salt, or is there any taste in the slime of the purslane? My appetite refuses to touch them. They are as food that is loathsome to me. Oh, that I might have my request, and that God would grant my desire, that it would please God to crush me, that he would let loose his hand and cut me off. That would be my consolation. I would even exult in pain unsparing, for I have not denied the words of the Holy One. What is my strength that I should wait? And what is my end that I should be patient? Is my strength the strength of stones, or is it my flesh bronze? In truth, I have no help in me, and any resource is driven from me. He who withholds kindness from a friend forsakes the fear of the Almighty. My brethren are treacherous as torrent bed, as freshets that pass away, which are dark with ice, and where snow hides itself. In time of heat they disappear. When it is hot, they vanish from their place. The caravans turn aside from their course. They go up in the waste, and they perish. The caravans of Tamaluk, the travelers of Sheba, hope. They are disappointed because they were confident. They come thither and are confounded. Such you have now become to me. You see my calamity and are afraid. Have I said, make me a gift? Or from your wealth offer a bribe for me? Or deliver me from the adversary's hand? Or ransom me from the hand of the oppressors? Teach me and I will be silent. Make me understand how I have erred. How forceful are honest words, but what does reproof from you reprove? Do you think that you can reprove words when the speech of a despairing man is wind? You would even cast lots over the fatherless and bargain over your friend. But now be pleased to look at me, for I will not lie to your face. Turn, I pray, let no wrong be done. Turn now, my vindication is at stake. Is there any wrong on my tongue? Cannot my taste discern calamity? Job chapter 7. Has not man a hard service upon earth, and are not his days like the days of a hireling? Like a slave who longs for the shadow, and like a hireling who looks for his wages, so I am allotted months of emptiness, and nights of misery are apportioned to me. When I lie down, I say, when shall I arise? But the night is long, and I am full of tossing till the dawn. My flesh is clothed with worms and dirt. My skin hardens, then breaks out afresh. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle, and come to their end without hope. Remember that my life is a breath. My eye will never see again good. The eye of him who sees me will behold me no more. While thy eyes are upon upon me, I shall be gone. As the cloud fades and vanishes, so he who goes down to Sheol does not come up. He returns no more to his house, nor does his place know him any more. Therefore, I will not restrain my mouth. I will speak the anguish of my spirit. I will complain in the bitterness of my soul. Am I the sea or a sea monster, that thou settest a guard over me? When I say my bed will comfort me, my couch will ease my complaint, then thou dost scare me with dreams and terrify me with visions, so that I would choose strangling and death rather than my bones. I loathe my life. I would not live forever. Let me alone, for my days are a breath. What is man that thou dost make so much of him, that thou dost set thy mind upon him? Dost visit him every morning and test him every moment? How long wilt thou look away from me? Nor let me alone till I swallow my spittle. If I sin, what do I do to thee, thou watcher of men? Why hast thou made me thy mark? Why have I become a burden to thee? Why dost thou not pardon my transgression and take away my iniquity? For now I shall lie in the earth. Thou wilt seek me, but I shall not be. Job chapter 8. Then Bildad the Shuhite answered, How long will you say these things, and the words of your mouth be a great wind? Does God pervert justice, or does the Almighty pervert the right? If your children have sinned against him, he has delivered them into the power of their transgression. If you will seek God and make supplication to the Almighty, if you are pure and upright, surely then he will rouse himself for you and reward you with rightful habitation. And though your beginning was small, your latter days will be very great. For inquire, I pray you, of bygone ages, and consider what the fathers have found. For we are but of yesterday and know nothing. For our days on earth are a shadow. Will they not teach you and tell you and utter words out of their understanding? Can papyrus grow where there is no marsh? Can reeds flourish where there is no water? While yet in flower and not cut down, they wither before any other plant. Such are the paths of all those who forget God. The hope of the godless man shall perish. His confidence breaks in sunder, and his trust is a spider's web. He leans against his house, but it does not stand, and he lays hold of it, but it does not endure. He thrives before the sun, and his shoots spread over his garden. His roots twine about the stone heap. He lives among the rocks. If he is destroyed from his place, then it will deny him, saying, I have never seen you. Behold, this is the joy of his way, and out of the earth others will spring. Behold, God will not reject a blameless man, nor take the hand of evildoers. He will yet fill your mouth with laughter, and your lips with shouting. Those who hate you will be clothed with shame, and the tent of the wicked will be no more. Job chapter 9. Then Job answered, Truly I know that it is so, but how can a man just be before God? If one wished to contend with him, one could not answer him once in 1,000 times. He is wise in heart and mighty in strength. Who has hardened himself against him and succeeded? He who removes mountains, and they know it not, when he overturns them in his anger, who shakes the earth out of its place, and its pillars tremble, who commands the sun, and it does not rise, who seals up the stars, who alone stretched out the heavens and trampled the waves of the sea, who made the Bear and Orion and Pleiades and the chambers of the south, who does great things beyond understanding, and marvelous things without number. Lo, he passes by me, and I see him not. He moves on, but I do not perceive him. Behold, he snatches away, who can hinder him? Who will say to him, What doest thou? God will not turn back his anger. Beneath him bowed the helpers of Rahab. How then can I answer him, choosing my words with him? Though I am innocent, I cannot answer him. I must appeal for mercy to my accuser. If I summoned him and he answered me, I would not believe that he was listening to my voice. For he crushes me with a tempest and multiplies my wounds without cause. And he will not let me get my breath, but fills me with bitterness. If it is a contest of strength, behold him. If it is a matter of justice, who can summon him? Though I am innocent, my own mouth would condemn me. Though I am blameless, he would prove me perverse. I am blameless. I regard not myself. I loathe my life. It is all one, therefore I say he destroys both the blameless and the wicked. When disaster brings sudden death, he mocks at the calamity of the innocent. The earth is given in the hand of the wicked. He covers the faces of his judges. If it is not he, then who then is it? My days are swifter than a runner. They flee away, they seem no good. They go by like skiffs of a reed, like an eagle swooping on the prey. If I say I will forget my complaint, I will put off my sad countenance and be of good cheer. I become afraid of all my suffering, for I know thou wilt not hold me innocent. I shall be condemned. Why then do I labor in vain? If I wash myself with snow and cleanse my hands with lye, yet thou wilt plunge me into a pit, and my own clothes will abhor me. For he is not a man as I am, that I might answer him, that we should come to trial together. There's no umpire between us who might lay his hand upon us both. Let him take his rod away from me, and let not dread of him terrify me. Then I would speak without fear of him, for I am not so in myself. Job chapter 10. I loathe my life. I will give free utterance to my complaint. I will speak in the bitterness of my soul. I will say to God, do not condemn me. Let me know why thou dost contend against me. Does it seem good to thee to oppress, to despise the work of thy hands, and favor the designs of the wicked? Hast thou eyes of flesh? Dost thou see as man sees? Are thy days as the days of man, or thy years as man's years? That thou dost seek out my iniquity, and search for my sin? Although thou knowest that I am not guilty, and there is none to deliver out of thy hand. Thy hands fashioned and made me, and now thou dost turn about and destroy me. Remember that thou hast made me of clay, and wilt thou turn me to dust again? Didst thou not pour me out like milk, and curdle me like cheese? Thou didst clothe me with skin and flesh, and knit me together with bones and sinews. Thou hast granted me life and steadfast love, and thy care has preserved my spirit. Yet these things thou didst hide in thy heart. I know that this was thy purpose. If I sin, thou dost mark me, and dost not acquit me of my iniquity. If I am wicked, woe to me. If I am righteous, I cannot lift up my head, for I am filled with disgrace and look upon my affliction. And if I lift myself up, thou dost hunt me like a lion, and again work wonders against me. Thou dost renew thy witness against me, and increase thy vexation towards me. Thou dost bring fresh hosts against me. Why didst thou bring me forth from the womb? Would that I had died before any eye had seen me, and were as though I had not been carried from the womb to the grave. Are not the days of my life few? Let me alone that I may find a little comfort, before I go whence I shall not return, to the land of gloom and deep darkness, the land of gloom and chaos, where light is as darkness. Then Zophar the Naamathite answered, Should a multitude of words go unanswered, and a man full of talk be vindicated? Shall your babble silence men when you mock? Shall no one shame you? For you say my doctrine is pure, and I am clean in God's eyes. But oh, that God would speak and open up his lips to you, that he would tell you the secrets of wisdom, for he is manifold in understanding. Know then that God exacts you of less than your guilt deserves. Can you find out the deep things of God? Can you find out the limit of the Almighty? It is higher than heaven. What can you do? Deeper than Sheol. What can you know? Its measure is longer than the earth and broader than the sea, and if he passes through and imprisons and calls to judgment, who can hinder him? For he knows worthless men. When he sees iniquity, will he not consider it? But a stupid man will get understanding when a wild ass's colt is born a man. If you set your heart aright, you will stretch out your hands towards him. If iniquity is in your hand, put it far away, and let not wickedness dwell in your tents. Surely then you will lift up your face without blemish. You will be secure and will not fear. You will forget your misery. You will remember it as waters that have passed away, and your life will be brighter than the noonday. Its darkness will be like the morning. And you will have confidence because there is hope. You will be protected and take rest in your safety. You will lie down, and none will make you afraid. Many will entreat your favor. But the eyes of the wicked will fail. All way of escape will be lost to them, and their hope is to breathe their last. Job chapter 12. Then Job answered, No doubt you are the people, and wisdom will die with you. But I have understanding as well as you. I am not inferior to you. Who does not know such things as these? I'm a laughingstock to my friends. I who called upon God, and he answered me, a just and blameless man, am a laughingstock. In the thought of one who is at ease, there is contempt for misfortune. It is ready for those whose feet slip. The tents of robbers are at peace, and those who provoke God are secure, who bring their God in their hand. But ask the beasts, and they will teach you, the birds of the air, and they will tell you, or the plants of the earth, and they will teach you, and the fish of the sea will declare to you. Who among all these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this? In his hand is the life of every living thing, and the breath of all mankind. Does not the ear try words as the palate tastes food? Wisdom is with the aged, and understanding is in length of days. With God are wisdom and might, he is counsel and understanding. If he tears down, none can rebuild, and if he shuts a man in, none can open. If he withholds the waters, they dry up. If he sends them out, they overwhelm the land. With him are strength and wisdom, the deceived and the deceiver are his. He leads counselors away stripped, and judges he makes fools. He looses the bonds of kings, and binds a waistcloth on their loins. He leads priests away stripped, and overthrows the mighty. He deprives of speech those who are trusted, and takes away the discernment of the elders. He pours contempt on princes, and loses the belt of the strong. He uncovers the deeps out of the darkness, and brings deep darkness to light. He makes nations great, and he destroys them. He enlarges nations and leads them away. He takes away understanding from the chiefs of the people of the earth, and makes them wander in a pathless waste. They grope in the dark without light, and he makes them stagger like a drunken man. Lo, my eye has seen all this, my ear has heard and understood it. What you know I also know. I am not inferior to you, but I would speak to the Almighty, and I desire to argue my case with God. As for you, you whitewash with lies, worthless physicians are you all. Oh, that you would keep silent, and it would be your wisdom. Hear now my reasoning, and listen to the pleadings of my lips. Will you speak falsely for God, and speak deceitfully for him? Will you show partiality towards him? Will you plead the case for God? Will it be well with you when he searches you out, or can you deceive him as one deceives a man? He will surely rebuke you if in secret you show no partiality. Will not his majesty terrify you, and the dread of him fall upon you? Your maxims are proverbs of ashes, your defenses are defenses of clay. Let me have silence, and I will speak, and let come on me what may. I will take my flesh in my teeth, and put my life in my hand. Behold, he will slay me, I have no hope, yet I will defend my ways to his face. This will be my salvation, that a godless man shall not come before him. Listen carefully to my words, and let my declaration be in your ears. Behold, I have prepared my case. I know that I shall be vindicated. Who is there that will contend with me? For then I would be silent and die. Only grant two things to me, then I will not hide myself from thy face. Withdraw thy hand far from me, and let not dread of thee terrify me. Then call, and I will answer. Or let me speak, and do thou reply to me. How many are my iniquities and my sins? Make me know my transgression and my sin. Why dost thou hide thy face and count me as thy enemy? Wilt thou frighten a driven leaf and pursue dry chaff? Wilt thou writest bitter things against me, and makest me inherit the iniquities of my youth? Thou puttest my feet in stocks, and watchest all my paths. Thou settest a bound to the soles of my feet. Man wastes away like a rotten thing, like a garment that is moth-eaten. Job chapter 14. Man that is born of a woman is of few days and full of trouble. He comes forth like a flower and withers. He flees like a shadow and continues not. And dost thou open thine eyes upon such a one, and bring him into judgment with thee? Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? There is not one. Since his days are determined with the number of months is with thee, and thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass, look away from him and desist, that he may enjoy like a hireling his day. For there is hope for a tree if it be cut down, that it will sprout again, and that its shoots will not cease. Though its roots grow old in the earth, and its stump die in the ground, yet at the scent of water it will bud and put forth branches like a young plant. But man dies and is laid low. Man breathes his last, and where is he? As waters fail from a lake, and river wastes away and dries up, so man lies down and rises not again. Till the heavens are no more, he will not wake, or be roused out of his sleep. Oh, that thou wouldst hide me in Sheol, that thou wouldst conceal me until thy wrath be past, that thou wouldst appoint me a set time and remember me. If a man die, shall he live again? All the days of my service I would wait, till my release should come. Thou wouldst call, and I would answer thee. Thou wouldst long for the work of thy hands. Then thou wouldst number my steps. Thou wouldst not keep watch over my sin. My transgression would be sealed up in a bag, and thou wouldst cover over my iniquity. But the mountain falls and crumbles away, and the rock is removed from its place. The waters wear away the stones, the torrents wash away the soil of the earth, so thou destroyest the hope of man. Thou prevailest forever against him, and he passes. Thou changest his countenance and sendest him away. His sons come to honor, and he does not know it. They are brought low, and he perceives it not. He feels only the pain of his own body, and he mourns only for himself. Then Eliphaz, Job chapter 15. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered, Should a wise man answer with windy knowledge and fill himself with the east wind? Should he argue in unprofitable talk, or in words with which he can do no good? But you are doing away with the fear of God and hindering meditation before God. For your iniquity teaches your mouth, and you choose the tongue of the crafty. Your own mouth condemns you, and not I. Your own lips testify against you. Are you the first man that was born? Or were you brought forth before the hills? Have you listened in the counsel of God, and do you limit wisdom to yourself? What do you know that we do not know? What do you understand that is not clear to us? Both the gray-haired and the aged are among us, older than your father. Are the consolations of God too small for you, or the word that deals gently with you? Why does your heart carry you away, and why do your eyes flash, that you turn your spirit against God and let such words go out of your mouth? What is man that he can be clean, or that he is born of a woman that he can be righteous? Behold, God puts no trust in his holy ones, and the heavens are not clean in his sight. How much less one who is abominable and corrupt, a man who drinks iniquity like water? I will show you, hear me, and what I have seen I will declare. What wise men have told and their fathers have not hidden, to whom alone the land was given, and no stranger passed among them. The wicked man writhes in pain all his days. Through all the years that are laid up for the ruthless, terrifying sounds are in his ears. In prosperity the destroyer will come upon him. He does not believe that he will return out of darkness, and he is destined for the sword. He wanders abroad for bread, saying, Where is it? He knows that a day of darkness is ready at his hand. Distress and anguish terrify him. They prevail against him like a king prepared for battle, because he has stretched forth his hand against God and bids defiance to the Almighty, running stubbornly against him with a thick-bossed shield, because he has covered his face with his fat, and gathered fat upon his loins, and has lived in desolate cities, in houses which no man should inhabit, which were destined to become heaps of ruins. He will not be rich, and his wealth will not endure, nor will he strike root in the earth. He will not escape from darkness. The flame will dry up his shoots, and his blossom will be swept away by the wind. Let him not trust in emptiness, deceiving himself, for emptiness will be his recompense. It will be paid in full for his time, and his branch will not be green. He will shake off his unripe grape like the vine, and cast off his blossom like the olive tree. For the company of the godless is barren, and fire consumes the tents of rivalry. They conceive mischief and bring forth evil, and their heart prepares deceit. Job chapter 16. Then Job answered, I have heard many such things, miserable comforters are you all. Shall windy words have an end? Or what provokes you that you should answer? If I also could speak as you do, if you were in my place, I could join words together against you and shake my head at you. I could strengthen you with my mouth, and the solace of my lips would assuage your pain. If I speak, my pain is not assuaged, and if I forbear, how much of it leaves me? Surely now God has worn me out. He has made me desolate, all my company. He has shriveled me up, which is a witness against me. And my leanness has risen up against me. It testifies to my face. He has torn me in his wrath and hated me. He has gnashed his teeth at me, and my adversary sharpens his eyes against me. Men have gaped at me with their mouth. They have struck me insolently upon the cheek. They mass themselves together against me. God gives me up to the ungodly and casts me into the hands of the wicked. I was at ease, and he broke me asunder. He seized me by the neck and dashed me to pieces. He set me up as his target. His archers surround me. He slashes open my kidneys and does not spare. He pours out my gall on the ground. He breaks me with breach upon breach. He runs upon me like a warrior. I have sewed sackcloth upon my skin and have laid my strength in the dust. My face is red with weeping, and on my eyelids is deep darkness. Although there is no violence in my hands, and my prayer is pure. O earth, cover not my blood, and let my cry find no resting place. Even now, behold, my witness is in heaven, and he that vouches for me is on high. My friends scorn me. My eye pours out tears to God, that he would maintain the right of a man with God, like that of a man with his neighbor. For when a few years have come, I shall not go the way when I shall not return. Job chapter 17. My spirit is broken, my days are extinct. The grave is ready for me. Surely there are mockers about me, and my eye dwells on their provocation. Lay down a pledge for me with thyself. Who is there that will give surety for me? Since thou hast closed their minds to understanding, therefore thou wilt not let them triumph. He who informs against his friends to get a share of their property, the eyes of all his children will fail. He has made me a byword of the peoples, and I am one before whom men spit. My eye has grown dim from grief, and all my members are like a shadow. Upright men are appalled at this, and the innocent stirs himself up against the godless. Yet the righteous holds to his way, and he that has clean hands grows stronger and stronger. But you, come on again, all of you, and I shall not find a wise man among you. My days are past, my plans are broken off, the desires of my heart. They make night into day. The light, they say, is near to the darkness. If I look for Sheol as my house, if I spread my couch in darkness, if I say to the pit, you are my father, and to the worm, my mother, or my sister, where then is hope? Who will see my hope? Will it go down to the bars of Sheol? Shall we descend together into the dust? Job chapter 18. Then Bildad the Shuhite answered, How long will you hunt for words? Consider, and then we will speak. Why are we counted as cattle? Why are we stupid in your sight? You who tear yourself in your anger, shall the earth be forsaken for you, or the rock be removed out of its place? Yea, the light out of the wicked is put out, and the flame of his fire does not shine. The light is dark in his tent, and his lamp above him is put out. His strong steps are shortened, and his own schemes throw him down. For he is cast into a net by his own feet, and he walks on a pitfall. The trap seizes him by the heel, a snare lays hold of him. A rope is hid for him in the ground, and a trap for him in the path. Terrors frighten him on every side, and chase him at his heels. His strength is hunger-bitten, and calamity is ready for his stumbling. By disease his skin is consumed, the firstborn of death consumes his limbs. He is torn from the tent in which he is trusted, and is brought to the king of terrors. In his tent dwells that which is none of his. Brimstone is scattered upon his habitation. His roots dry up beneath, and his branches wither above. His memory perishes from the earth, and he has no name in the street. He is thrust from light into darkness, and driven out of the world. He has no offspring or descendant among his people. And no survivor where he used to live. They of the west are appalled at his day, and horror seizes them of the east. Surely such are the dwellings of the ungodly, such is the place of him who knows not God. Job chapter 19. Then Job answered, How long will you torment me and break me in pieces with words? These 10 times you have cast reproach on me. Are you not ashamed to wrong me? And even if it be true that I have erred, my error remains with myself. If indeed you magnify yourselves against me and make my humiliation an argument against me, know then that God has put me in the wrong and closed his net about me. Behold, I cry out violence, but I am not answered. I call aloud, but there is no justice. He has walled up my way so that I cannot pass, and he has set darkness upon my paths. He has stripped me from my glory and taken the crown from my head. He breaks me down on every side, and I am gone, and my hope he has pulled up like a tree. He's kindled his wrath against me and counts me as his adversary. His troops come on together, and they have cast up siege works against me, and encamp round about my tent. He has put my brethren far from me, and my acquaintances are wholly estranged from me. My kinsfolk and my close friends have failed me. The guests in my house have forgotten me. My maidservants count me as a stranger. I have become an alien in their eyes. I call to my servant, but he gives me no answer. I must beseech him with my mouth. I am repulsive to my wife, loathsome to the sons of my own mother. Even young children despise me when I rise, and they talk against me. All my intimate friends abhor me, and those whom I loved have turned against me. My bones cleave to skin and to flesh. I have escaped by the skin of my teeth. Have pity on me, have pity on me. O you, my friends, for the hand of God has touched me. Why do you, like God, pursue me? Why are you not satisfied with my flesh? Oh, that my words were written. Oh, that they were inscribed in a book. Oh, that with an iron pen and lead that they were graven in the rock forever. For I know that my Redeemer lives, and at last he will stand upon the earth. And after my skin has been thus destroyed, then from my flesh I shall see God, whom I shall see on my side. And my eyes shall behold, and not another. My heart faints within me. If you say, how will we pursue him, and the root of the matter is found in him, be afraid of the sword, for wrath brings the punishment of the sword, that you may know there is a judgment. Job chapter 20. Then Sophar the Naamathite answered, Therefore my thoughts answer me. Because of my haste within me, I hear censure which insults me, and out of my understanding a spirit answers me. Do you not know this from of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the exulting of the wicked is short, and the joy of the godless but for a moment? Though his height mount up to the heavens, and his head reach to the clouds, he will perish forever like his own dung. Those who have seen him will say, Where is he? He will fly away like a dream and not be found. He will be chased away like a vision of the night. The eye which saw him will see him no more, nor will his place any more behold him. His children will seek the favor of the poor, and his hands will give back his wealth. His bones are full of youthful vigor, but it will lie down with him in the dust. Though wickedness is sweet in his mouth, though he hides it under his tongue, though he is loath to let it go and holds it in his mouth, yet his food is turned in his stomach. It is the gall of asps within him. He swallows down riches and vomits them up again. God casts them out of his belly. He will suck the poison of asps. The tongue of a viper will kill him. He will not look upon the rivers, the streams flowing with honey and curds. He will give back the fruit of his toil and will not swallow it down. From the profit of his trading he will get no enjoyment. For he has crushed and abandoned the poor. He has seized a house which he did not build. Because his greed knew no rest, he will not save anything in which he delights. There is nothing left after he had eaten. Therefore his prosperity will not endure. In the fullness of his sufficiency he will be in straits. All the force of misery will come upon him. To fill his belly to the full God will send him fierce anger into him, and rain it upon him as his food. He will flee from an iron weapon, a bronze arrow will strike him through. It is drawn forth and comes out of his body. The glittering point comes out of his gall. Terrors come up upon him. Utter darkness is laid up for his treasures. A fire not blown upon will devour him. What is left in his tent will be consumed. The heavens will reveal his iniquity, and the earth will rise up against him. The possessions of his house will be carried away, dragged off in the day of God's wrath. This is the wicked man's portion from God, the heritage decreed for him by God. Job chapter 21. Then Job answered, Listen carefully to my words, and let this be your consolation. Bear with me, and I will speak, and after I have spoken, mock on. As for me, is my complaint against men? Why should I not be impatient? Look at me and be appalled, and lay your hand upon your mouth. When I think of it, I am dismayed, and shuddering seizes my flesh. Why do the wicked live, reach old age, and grow mighty in power? Their children are established in their presence, and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear, and no rod of God is upon them. Their bull breeds without fail, their cow calves, and does not cast her calf. They send forth their little ones like a flock, and their children to dance. They sing to the tambourine and the lyre, and rejoice to the sound of the pipe. They spend their days in prosperity, and in peace they go down to Sheol. They say to God, "Depart from us. We do not desire the knowledge of thy ways. What is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit do we get if we pray to him? Behold, is not their prosperity in their hand? The counsel of the wicked is far from me. How often is it that the lamp of the wicked is put out, that their calamity comes upon them, that God distributes pains in his anger, that they are like straw before the wind, like chaff that the storm carries away. You say God stores up their iniquity for their sons. Let him recompense it to themselves that they may know it. Let their own eyes see their destruction, and let them drink of the wrath of the Almighty. For what do they care for their houses after them, when the number of their months is cut off? Will any teach God knowledge, seeing that he judges those that are on high? One dies in full prosperity, being wholly at ease and secure, his body full of fat and marrow of his bones moist. Another dies in bitterness of soul, never having tasted of good. They lie down alike in the dust, and the worms cover them. Behold, I know your thoughts and your schemes to wrong me. For you say, where is this house of the prince? Where is the tent in which the wicked dwelt? Have you not asked those who travel the roads, and do you not accept their testimony that the wicked man is spared in the days of calamity, that he is rescued in the day of wrath? Who declares his way to his face, and who requites him for what he has done? When he is borne to the grave, watch is kept over his tomb. The clods of the valley are sweet to him. All men follow him, and those who go before him are innumerable. How then will you comfort me with empty nothings? There is nothing left of your answers but falsehood. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered, Can a man be profitable to God? Surely he who is wise is profitable to himself. Is it any pleasure to the Almighty if you are righteous, or is it gain to him if you make your ways blameless? Is it for your fear of him that he reproves you and enters into judgment with you? Is not your wickedness great? There is no end to your iniquities. For you have expected pledges of your brother for nothing, and stripped naked of their clothing. You have given no water to the weary to drink, and you have withheld bread from the hungry. The man with power possessed the land, and the favored man dwelt in it. You have sent widows away empty, and the arms of the fatherless were crushed. Therefore snares are round about you, and sudden terror overwhelms you. Your light is darkened so that you cannot see, and a flood of water covers you. Is not God high in the heavens? See the highest stars, how lofty they are. Therefore you say, what does God know? Can he judge through the deep darkness? Thick clouds enwrap him so that he does not see, and he walks on the vault of heaven. Will you keep the old way which wicked men have trod? They were snatched away before their time, their foundation was washed away. They said to God, Depart from us, and what can the Almighty do to us? Yet he filled their houses with good things. But the counsel of the wicked is far from me. The righteous see it and are glad. The innocent laugh them to scorn, saying, Surely our adversaries are cut off, and what they left the fire has consumed. Agree with God and be at peace, thereby good will come to you. Receive instruction from his mouth, and lay up his words in your heart. If you return to the Almighty and humble yourself, if you remove unrighteousness far from your tents, if you lay gold in the dust, the gold of Ophir among the stones of the torrent bed, and if the Almighty is your gold and your precious silver, then you will delight yourself in the Almighty and lift up your face to God. You will make your prayer to him, and he will hear you, and you will pray your vows. You will decide on a matter, and it will be established for you, and light will shine on your ways. For God opposes the proud, but he saves the lowly. He delivers the innocent man. You will be delivered through the cleanliness of your hands. Job chapter 23. Then Job answered, Today also my complaint is bitter. His hand is heavy in spite of my groaning. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might come even to his seat, that I would lay my case before him and fill my mouth with arguments. I would learn what he would answer me and understand what he would say to me. Would he contend with me in the greatness of his power? No, he would give heed to me. There is an upright man who could reason with him, and I should be acquitted forever by my judge. Behold, I go forward, but he is not there, and backward, but I cannot perceive him. On the left hand I seek him, but I cannot behold him. I turn to the right hand, but I cannot see him. But he knows the way that I take. When he has tried me, I shall come forth as gold. My foot has held fast to his steps. I have kept his way and have not turned aside. I have not departed from the commandment of his lips. I have treasured in my bosom the words of his mouth. But he is unchangeable, and who can turn him? What he desires, that he does. For he will complete what he appoints for me, and many such things are in his mind. Therefore I am terrified at his presence. When I consider, I am in dread of him. God has made my heart faint. The Almighty has terrified me. For I am hemmed in by darkness, and thick darkness covers my face. Job chapter 24. Why are not times of judgment kept by the Almighty? And why do those who know him never see his days? Men remove landmarks, they seize flocks and pasture them. They drive away the ass of the fatherless. They take the widow's ox for a pledge. They thrust the poor off the road, the poor off the earth, all hide themselves. Behold, like wild asses in the desert, they go forth to their toil, seeking prey in the wilderness, as food for their children. They gather their fodder in the field, and they glean the vineyard of the wicked man. They lie all night naked without clothing, and have no covering in the cold. They are wet with the rain of the mountains, and cling to the rock for want of shelter. There are those who snatch the fatherless child from the breast, and take in pledge the infant of the poor. They go about naked without clothing. Hungry they carry the sheaves, among the olive rows of the wicked they make oil. They tread the winepresses, but suffer thirst. From out of the city the dying groan, and the soul of the wounded cries for help. Yet God pays no attention to their prayer. There are those who rebel against the light, who are not acquainted with its ways, who do not stay in its paths. The murderer rises in the dark, that he may kill the poor and the needy. And in the night he is as a thief. The eye of the adulterer also waits for the twilight, saying, no eye will see me, as he disguises his face. In the dark they dig through houses. By day they shut themselves up. They do not know the light. For deep darkness is morning to all of them, for they are friends with the terrors of deep darkness. You say they are swiftly carried away upon the face of the waters. Their portion is cursed in the land. No treader turns towards their vineyards. Drought and heat snatch away the snow waters. So does Sheol those who have sinned. The squares of the town forget them. Their name is no longer remembered, so the wickedness is broken like a tree.
Still in Job? Oh, good times.
I just started, Job.
Oh.
I got you to 24.
Okay. Thank you, sweetie.
Of course.
Oh, here we go. Love ya. They feed on the bear, Job chapter 24, verse 21. They feed on the barren, childless woman and do no good to the widow. Yet God prolongs the life of the mighty of us by his power. They rise up when they despair of life. He gives them security, and they are supported, and his eyes are upon their ways. They are exalted a little while, and then they are gone. They wither and fade like the marrow. They are cut off like heads of grain. If it is not so, who will prove me a liar, and show that there is nothing in what I say? Then Bildad the Shunammite answered, dominion and fear are with God. He makes peace in his high heaven. Is there any number to his armies? Upon whom does his light not arise? And then how can man be righteous before God? How can he who is born of woman be clean? Behold, even the moon is not bright, and the stars are not clean in his sight. How much less man who is a maggot, and the son of man who is worm? Then Job answered, how you have helped me, him who has no power. How you have saved the arm that has no strength. How you have counseled him who has no wisdom, and plentiful declared sound knowledge. With whose help have you uttered words, and whose spirit has come forth from you? The shades below tremble, the waters and their inhabitants. Sheol is naked before God, and Abaddon has no covering. Abaddon has no covering. He stretches out over the north, and void hangs the earth upon nothing. He binds up the waters in his thick clouds, and the cloud is not rent under them. He covers the face of the moon and covers it with his cloud. He has described a circle upon the face of the waters at the boundary between light and darkness. The pillars of heaven tremble and are astounded at his rebuke. By his power he stilled the sea. By his understanding he smote Rahab. By his wind the heavens were made fair. His hand pierced the fleeting serpent. Lo, these are but the outskirts of his ways, and ho, a small whisper do we hear of him. But the thunder of his power who can understand? And Job again took up his discourse and said, As God lives, who has taken away my right, and the Almighty who has made my soul bitter, as long as my breath is in me and the Spirit of God is in my nostrils, my lips will not speak falsehood, and my tongue will not utter deceit. Far be it from me to say that you are right. Till I die, I will not put away my integrity from me. I will hold fast my righteousness. I will not let it go. My heart does not reproach me for any of my days. Let my enemy be as wicked, and let him that arises up against me be as the unrighteous. For what is the hope of the godless when God cuts him off? When God takes away his life? When God hears his cry? And when troubles come upon him? Will he take delight in the Almighty? Will he call upon God at all times? I will teach you concerning the hand of God. What is with the Almighty I will not conceal. Behold, all of you have seen it yourselves. Why then have you become altogether vain? This is the portion of a wicked man with God, and the heritage which oppressors receive from the Almighty. If his children are multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offsprings have not enough to eat. Those who survive him, the pestilence buries, and their widows make no lamentations. Though he heap up silver like dust and pile up clothing like clay, he may pile it up, but the just will wear it, and the innocent shall divide the silver. The house which he builds is like a spider web. He makes like a booth which a watchman makes. He goes to bed rich, but will do so no more. He opens his eyes, and his wealth is gone. Terrors overtake him like a flood. In the night a whirlwind carries him off. The east wind lifts him up and is gone. It sweeps him out of his place. It hurls at him without pity. He flees from its power, headlong flight. And it clasps hands at him and hisses at him from its place. Chapter 28. Surely there is a mine for silver and a place for gold which they refine. Iron is taken out of the earth, and copper is spelted from the ore. Men put an end to darkness and search out to the farthest bound. The ore in gloom and deep darkness. They open shafts in a valley away from where men live. They are forgotten by travelers. They hang afar from men, and they swing to and fro. As for the earth, out of it comes bread, but underneath it is turned up by fire. Its stones are the places of sapphires, and it has dusts of gold. That path no bird of prey knows, and the falcon's eye has not seen. The proud beast have not trodden it, the lion has not passed over it. Man puts his hand to the flinty rock and overturns mountains by the roots. He cuts out channels in the rocks, and his eyes see every precious thing. He binds up the streams so that they do not trickle, and the thing that is hid he brings forth to light. But where shall wisdom be found, and where is the place of understanding? Man does not know it, the way to it, and it is not found in the land of the living. The deep says, it is not in me, and the sea says, it is not with me. It cannot be gotten for gold, and silver cannot be weighed as its price. It cannot be valued at the gold of Ophir in precious onyx or sapphire. Gold and glass cannot equal it, nor can it be exchanged for jewels of fine gold. No mention shall be made of coral or of crystal. The price of wisdom is above pearls. The topaz of Ethiopia cannot compare with it, nor can it be valued in pure gold. Whence then comes wisdom, and where is the place of understanding? It is hid from the eyes of all living, and concealed from the birds of the air. Abaddon and death say, we have heard a rumor of it with our ears. God understands the way to it, and he knows its place. For he looks to the ends of the earth, and he sees everything under the heavens. And he gives to the wind its weight, and melted out the waters by measure. When he had made a decree for the rain, and a way for the lightning of the thunder, and he saw it and declared it, and he established it and searched it out. And he said to man, behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding. And Job took up his discourse and said, Oh, that I were as in the months of old, chapter 29, as in the days when God watched over me, when his lamp shone upon my head, and by his light I walked through darkness, as I was in my autumn days, when the friendship of God was upon my tent, when the Almighty was yet with me, when my children were about me, and my steps were washed with milk, and the rock poured out for me streams of oil. When I went out to the gate of the city, when I prepared my seat in the square, the young men saw me and withdrew. The aged rose and stood. The princes refrained from talking and laid their hand on their mouth. The voice of the nobles was hushed, and their tongue cleaved to the roof of their mouth. When the ear heard, it called me blessed, and when the eye saw, it approved, because I delivered the poor who cried, and the fatherless who had none to help him. The blessing of him who was about me to perish came upon me, and I caused the widow's heart to sing for joy. I put on righteousness, and it clothed me. My justice was like a robe and a turban. I was blind to the blind, eyes to the blind, and feet to the lame. I was a father to the poor, and I searched out the cause of him whom I did not know. I broke the fangs of unrighteousness, and made him drop his prey from his teeth. Then I thought, I shall die in my nest. I shall multiply my days as the sand. My roots spread out to the waters, and all the dew all night on my branches. My glory fresh with me, and my bow never new in my hand. Men listened to me and waited, and kept silence for my counsel. And after I spoke, they did not speak again, and my words dropped upon them. They waited for me as for the rain, and they opened their mouth as for the spring rain. I smiled on them when they had no confidence, and the light of my countenance they did not cast down. I chose their way and sat as chief, and I dwelt like a king among his troops, like one who comforts mourners. Chapter 30. But now they make sport of me, men who are younger than I, whose fathers I would have disdained, to set with the dogs of my flock. What could I gain from their strength of their hands, men whose vigor is gone? Through want and hard hunger, they gnaw the dry and desolate ground. They pick marrow and the leaves of bushes to warm themselves, the roots of the broom. They are driven out from among men. They shout after them as a thief. In the gullies of the torrents they must dwell, in the holes of the earth and of the rocks. Among the bushes they bray, under the nettles they huddle together. A senseless, a disreputable brood they have wiped out of the land. And now I have become their song. I am a byword to them. They abhorred me. They keep me aloof from them. They keep aloof from me. They do not hesitate to spit at the sight of me, because God has loosed my cord and humbled me, and they have cast off restraint in my presence. On my right hand the rabble rise. They drive me forth. They cast me against me with their ways of destruction. They break up my path. They provoke my calamity, and no one restrains them. As though a wide breach they come, amid the crash they roll on. Terrors are turned upon me. My honor is pursued as by the wind, and my prosperity has passed away like a cloud. And now my soul is poured out within me. Days of affliction have taken hold of me. The night racks my bones, and the pain that gnaws me takes no rest. With violence it seizes my garment. It binds me like a collar of my tunic. God has cast me into the mire, and I have become like dust and ashes. I cry to thee, and thou dost not answer me. I stand, and thou dost not heed me. Thou hast turned cruel to me. With the might of thy hand thou dost persecute me. Thou dost lifted me up on the wind. Thou makest me ride on it, and thou tossest me about in the roar of a storm. Yea, I know thou wilt bring me to death, and to the house appointed for all living. Yet does not one in a heap of ruin stretch out his hand, and in his disaster cry for help? Did I weep for him whose day was hard? Was my soul grieved for the poor? When I looked for good, evil came, and when I waited for light, darkness came. My heart is in turmoil and is never still. Days of affliction come to meet me. I go about blackened, but not by the sun. I stand in the assembly and cry for help. I am a brother of jackals and a companion of ostriches. My skin turns black and falls from me, and my bones burn with heat. My lyre is turning into mourning, and my pipe to the voice of those who weep. Chapter 31. I have made a covenant with my eyes, and then I could look upon a virgin. What would be my portion from God above, and from my heritage from the Almighty on high? Do not calamity befall the unrighteous, and disaster the workers of iniquity. Does he not see my ways and number all of my steps? If I have walked with falsehood, and my foot has hastened to deceit, let me be weighed in a just balance, and let God know my integrity. If my step has turned aside from the way, and my heart has gone after my eyes, and if any spot has cleaved to my hands, then let me sow and eat another, and let what grows for me be rooted out. If my heart has been enticed to a woman, and if I have lain in wait at my neighbor's door, then let my wife grind for another, and let others bow down upon her. For that would be a heinous crime that would punish, and be an iniquity to punish by the judges, and that would be a fire which consumes unto Abdon. It would burn to the root of all my increase. If I have rejected the cause of my manservant or my maidservant when they brought a complaint against me, what then shall I do when God rises up? When he makes inquiry, what shall I answer him? Did he not make me in the womb? Did he not who made me in the womb make him? And did not one fashion us in the womb? If I have withheld anything that the poor desired, or have caused the eyes of the widow to fail, or have eaten my morsel alone, and the fatherless has not eaten of it, for from his youth I reared him as a father, and from his mother's womb I guided him. If I have seen anyone perish for lack of clothing, or a poor man without covering, if his loins have not blessed me, and if he is not warmed with the fleece of my sheep, if I have raised my hand against the fatherless, because I saw help in the gate, then let my shoulder blade fall from my shoulder, and let my arm be broken from its socket. For I was in terror of calamity from God. I could not have faced his majesty. If I have made gold my trust, or called fine gold my confidence, if I have rejoiced because my wealth was great, or because my hand had gotten much, if I had looked at the sun when it shone, or the moon moving in splendor, and my heart had been secretly enticed, and my mouth has kissed my hand, this also would be an iniquity to be punished by the judges, for I should have been false to God above. If I have rejoiced at the ruin of him that hated me, or exulted when evil overtook him, I have not let my mouth sin by asking for his life with a curse. If the men of my tent have not said, who is there that has not been filled with his meat? The sojourner has not lodged in the street. I have opened my doors to the wayfarer. If I have concealed my transgressions from men by hiding my iniquity in my bosom, because I stood in great fear of the multitude, and the contempt of families terrified me, so that I kept silence and did not go out of doors. Oh, that I had one to hear me. Here is my signature. Let the Almighty answer me. Oh, that I had the indictment written by my adversary. Surely I would carry it on my shoulders. I would bind it on me as a crown. I would give him an account of all of my steps. Like a prince, I would approach him. If my land has cried out against me, and its furrows have wept together, and I have eaten its yield without payment, and caused the death of its owners, let thorns instead of wheat, and foul weeds instead of barley. The words of Job are ended. Chapter 32. So these three men ceased to answer Job, because he was righteous in his own eyes. Then Elihu, the son of Barachel, and the Buzanite, the family of Ram, became angry. He was angry at Job because he justified himself rather than God. He was also angry at Job's three friends because they found no answer, although they declared Job to be in the wrong. Now Elihu had waited to speak to Job because they were older than he. And when Elihu saw that there was no answer in the mouth of these three men, he became angry. And Elihu, the son of Barachel, the Bezanite, answered, I am young in years and you are aged. Therefore I was timid and afraid to declare my opinion to you. I said, let days speak and many years teach wisdom. But it is the spirit in a man, the breath of the Almighty, that makes him understand. It is not the old that are wise, nor the aged that understand what is right. Therefore I say, listen to me, let me also declare my opinion. Behold, I waited for your words, I listened for your wise sayings, while you searched out what to say. I gave you my attention, and behold, there was none that confuted Job, or that answered his words among you. Beware lest you say, we have found wisdom, God may vanquish him, not man. He has not directed his words against me, and I will not answer him with your speeches. They were discomforted, they answered no more. They have not a word to say, and I shall speak, because they do not speak, because they stand there and answer no more. I also will give my answer. I also will declare my opinion, for I am full of words. The spirit within me constrains me. Behold, my heart is like wine that has no vent. It's like new wineskins, it is ready to burst. I must speak that I might find release. I must open my lips and answer. I will not show partiality to any person or use flattery toward any man, for I do not know how to flatter, else my Maker soon put to an end. Chapter 33. But now hear my speech, O Job, and listen to all of my words. Behold, I open my mouth and tongue, and my mouth speaks. My words declare the uprightness of my heart, and what my lips know, they speak sincerely. The Spirit of God has made me. The breath of the Almighty gives me life. Answer me if you can. Set in your words in order before me and take your stand. Behold, I am toward God as you are. I too was formed from a piece of clay. Behold, no fear of me need terrify you. My pressure will not be heavy upon you. Surely you have spoken in my hearing, and I have heard the sound of your words. You said, I am clean without transgression. I am pure, and there is no iniquity in me. Behold, he finds occasion against me. He counts me as his enemy. He puts my feet in the stocks and watches all my paths. Behold, in this you are not right. I will answer you. God is greater than man. Why do you contend against him, saying he will answer none of my words? For God speaks in one way, and in two, though a man does not perceive it. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep slumber falls upon men, while they sleep in their beds, and he opens the ears of men and terrifies them with warnings, that he may turn man aside from his deeds and cut off pride from man, and keeps his soul back from the pit, his life from perishing by the sword. Man is also chastened with pain upon his bed, and with continual strife in his bones, so that his life loathes bread, and his appetite dainty food. His flesh is so wasted away that it cannot be seen, and his bones which are not have been stuck out. His soul draws near to the pit, and his life to those who bring death. If there be for him an angel, a mediator, one of the 1,000, to declare to man what is right for him, and he is gracious to them and says, deliver him from going down into the pit. I have found a ransom. Let his flesh become flesh with youth, and let him return to the days of his youthful vigor. Then man prays to God, and he accepts him. He comes into his presence with joy. He counts to men his salvation, and he sings before men and says, I sinned and perverted what was right, and it was not requited to me. He has redeemed my soul from going down to the pit, and my life shall see the light. Behold, God does all these things twice, 3 times with a man, to bring his soul from the pit, that he may see the light of life. Give heed, O Job, listen to me. Be silent, and I will speak. If you have anything to say, answer me. Speak, for I desire to justify you. If not, listen to me. Be silent, and I will teach you wisdom. Chapter 34. Then Elihu said, hear my words, you wise men, and give ear to me, you who know. For the ear tests words on the palate, as the palate tastes food. Let us choose what is right and determine among us what is good. For Job has said, I am innocent, and God has taken away my right. In spite of my right, I am counted a liar. My wound is incurable, though I am without transgression. What man is like Job, who drinks up scoffing like water, and goes in company with evildoers, and walks with wicked men? And he says, it profits a man nothing that he should take delight in God. Therefore hear me, you men of understanding. Far be it from God that he should do wickedness, and from the Almighty that he should do wrong. For according to the work of man he will requite him, and according to his ways he will make it befall him. Of a truth, God will do no wickedly, and the Almighty will not pervert justice. Who gave him charge over the earth? Who laid on him the whole world? If he should take back his spirit to himself, and gather to himself his breath, all flesh would perish together, and man would return to dust. If you have understanding, hear this. Listen to what I say. Shall one who hates justice govern? Will you condemn him who is righteous and mighty? Who says to a king, worthless one, and to nobles, wicked man? Who shows no partiality to princes, nor regards to the rich more than the poor? And they are all the work of his hands. In a moment they die. At midnight the people are shaken and pass away, and the mighty are taken away by no human hand. For his eyes are upon the ways of a man, and he sees all his steps. There is no gloom or deep darkness where evildoers may hide themselves. For he has not appointed a time for any man to go before God in judgment. He shatters the mighty without investigation, and sets other in their place, thus knowing their works. He overturns them in the night, and they are crushed. He strikes them for their wickedness in the sight of men, because they are turned aside from following him, and had no regard for any of his ways. So that they caused the cry of the poor to come to him, and he heard the cry of the afflicted. When he is quiet, who can condemn? When he hides his face, who can behold him? Whether it be a nation or a man. That a godless man should not reign, that he should not ensnare the people. For has any one said to God, I have borne chastisement, I will not offend any more. Teach me what I do not see. If I have done iniquity, I will do it no more. Will he make requital to suit you, because you reject it? Therefore you must choose, and not I. Therefore declare what you know. Men of understanding will say to me, and the wise who hears me will say, Job speaks without knowledge. His words are without insight. Would that Job be tied to the end, and he answers like wicked men. For he adds rebellion to his sin. He claps his hands among us, and multitude his words against God. Chapter 35. And Elihu said, Do you think that this is to be just? Do you say, it is my right before God, that you ask, what advantage have I? How am I better off than I had been sinned? If I had sinned, I will answer you and your friends with you. Look at the heavens and see, and behold the clouds which are higher than you. If you have sinned, what do you accomplish against him? And if your transgressions are multiplied, what do you do to him? If you are righteous, what do you give to him? Or what does he receive from your hand? Your wickedness concerns a man like yourself, and your righteousness a son of man. Because of the multitude of oppression, people cry out. They cry for help because of the arm of the Almighty. But none say, Where is God my Maker, who gives songs in the night, who teaches us more than the beasts of the earth, and makes us wiser than the birds of the air? They cry out, but he does not answer, because of the pride of evil men. Surely God does not hear an empty cry, nor does the Almighty regard it. How much less when you say that you do not see him, that the case is before you, and you are waiting for him. And now, because his anger does not punish, he does not greatly heed transgression. Job opens his mouth in empty talk. He multiplies words without knowledge. Chapter 36. And Elihu continued and said, Bear with me a little, and I will show you, for I have yet something to say on God's behalf. I will fetch my knowledge from afar, and ascribe righteousness to my Maker. For truly my words are not false. One who is perfect in knowledge is with you. Behold, God is mighty and does not despise any. He is mighty in strength of understanding. He does not keep the wicked alive, but gives the afflicted their right. He does not withdraw his eyes from the righteous, but with kings upon the throne he sets them forever, and they are exalted. But if they are bound in fetters and caught in the cords of affliction, then he declares to them their work and their transgressions, that they are behaving arrogantly. He opens their ears to instructions from commands, that they return from iniquity. If they hearken and serve him, and they complete their days in prosperity, their years in pleasantness. But if they do not hearken, they perish by sword and die without knowledge. The godless in heart cherish anger. They do not cry for help when he binds them. They die in youth, and their life ends in shame. He delivers the afflicted by their affliction. He opens their ears by adversity. He also lured you out of distress into a broad place where there was no cramping, and what has set on your table was full of fatness. But you are full of the judgment on the wicked. Judgment and justice seize you. Beware lest wrath entice you into scoffing. Let not the greatness of the ransom turn you aside. Will your cry avail to keep you from distress, or all the force of your strength? Do not long for the night when people are cut off from their place. Take heed and do not turn to iniquity, for this you have chosen rather than affliction. Behold, God is exalted in his power. Who is a teacher like him? Who has prescribed for him his way? Who can say, Thou hast done wrong? Remember to extol his work, of which men have sung. All men look on it, and man beholds it from afar. Behold, God is great, and we know him not. The number of his years is unsearchable. For he draws up the drops of water, he distills his mist in rain, which the skies pour down and drop upon man abundantly. Can anyone understand the spreading of the clouds, the thunderings of his pavilion? Behold, he scatters his lightning about him, and covers the roots of the sea. For by these he judges peoples, he gives food in abundance. He covers his hand with the lightning, and commands it to strike the mark. Its crashing declares concerning him who is jealous with anger against iniquity. Chapter 37. At this also my heart trembles and leaps out of its place. Hearken to the thunder of his voice and the rumbling that comes from his mouth. Under the whole heaven he lets it go, and his lightning to the corners of the earth. After it his voice roars, his thunders with his majestic voice. He does not restrain the lightnings when his voice is heard. God thunders wondrously with his voice. He does great things which we cannot comprehend. For to the snow he says, fall on the earth, and to the shower and the rain, be strong. He seals up the hand of every man, and all men may know his work. Then the beasts go into their lairs and remain in their dens. From his chamber comes the whirlwind, and cold from the scattering wind. By the breath of God ice is given, and the broad waters are frozen fast. He loads a thick cloud with moisture. The clouds scatter his lightning. They turn around and around by his guidance to accomplish all that he commands them on the face of the habitable world. Whether for correction or for his land or for love, he causes it to happen. Hear this, O Job. Stop and consider the wondrous works of God. Do you know how God lays his commands upon them and causes the lightning of his cloud to shine? Do you know the balancing of the clouds, the wondrous works of him who is perfect in knowledge, and whose garments are hot when the earth is still because of the south wind? Can you, like him, spread out the skies hard as a molten mirror? Teach us what we shall say to him. We cannot draw up our case because of darkness. Shall it be told him that I would speak? Did a man ever wish that he would be swallowed up? And now men cannot look upon the sky light when it is bright in the skies, and when the wind has passed and cleared them. Out of the north comes golden splendor. God is clothed with terrible majesty. The Almighty, we cannot find him. He is great in power and justice. With abundant righteousness he will not violate. Therefore men fear him. He does not regard any who are wise in their own conceit. Chapter 38. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind. Who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up your loins like a man, and I will question you, and you shall declare to me. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who discerns its measures? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? Oh, what it that its base is sunk, or who laid its cornerstone? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy. Or who shut in the sea with doors, when it burst forth from the womb, when I made clouds in its garment, and thick darkness its swaddling band, and prescribed bounds for it, and set bars and doors, and said, thus far shall you come, and no further, and stay here shall your proud waves be stayed. Have you commanded the morning since your days began, and caused the dawn to know its place, that it might take hold of the skirts of the earth, and the wicked be shaken out of it? It is changed like clay under the sea. It is dyed like a garment. From the wicked their light is withheld, and from their uplifted arm is broken. Have you entered into the springs of the sea, or walked the recesses of the deep? Have the gates of death been revealed to you, or have you seen the gates of deep darkness? Have you comprehended the expanse of the earth? Declare if you know all this. Where is the way to the dwelling of light, and where is the place of darkness, that you may take it to its territory, and that you may discern the paths to its home? You know, for you were born then. The number of your days is great. Have you entered the storehouses of the snow, or have you seen the storehouses of the hail? For I have reserved for the time of trouble, for the day of battle and war. What is the way to the place where the light is distributed, and where the east wind is scattered upon the earth? Who has cleft a channel for the torrents of rain, and a way for the thunderbolt, to bring rain on a land where no man is, or in the desert in which no man is, to satisfy the waste and desolate land, and to make the ground put forth grass? Has the rain a father, or who has begotten the drops of dew? From whose womb did the ice come forth, and who has given birth to the hoarfrost of heaven? The water becomes hard like stone, and the face of the deep is frozen. Can you bind the chains of the Pleiades, or choose the cords of Orion? Can you lead forth the Mazzaroth in their season, or can you guide the bear with its children? Do you know the ordinance of the heavens? Can you establish their rule on earth? Can you lift up your voice to the clouds, that a flood of waters may cover you? Can you send forth lightning, that they may go to you and say, Here we are? Who has put wisdom in the clouds, or given understanding to the mists? Who can number the clouds by wisdom, or who can tilt the waterskins of the heavens? And when dust runs into a mass, and the clods cleave fast together? Can you hunt the prey for the lion, or satisfy the appetite of the young lions when they crouch in their dens, or lie in wait for their covert? Who provides for the raven its prey, or when its young ones cry to God, and wander about for lack of food? Chapter 39. Do you know when the mountain goats bring forth? Do you observe the calving of the hinds? Can you number the months they fulfill? And do you know the time when they will bring forth? When they crouch, bring forth their offspring, and are delivered of their young. Their young ones become strong, and they grow up in the open. They go forth and do not return to them. Who has let the wild ass go free? Who has loosed the bonds of the swift ass? To whom I have given the steep for his home, and the salt land for his dwelling place. He scorns the tumult of the city. He hears not the shouts of the driver. He ranges the mountains as his pasture. He searches after every green thing. Is the wild ox willing to serve you? Will he spend the night at your crib? Can you bind him in the furrow with ropes? Or will he harrow the valleys after you? Will you depend on him because his strength is great? And will you leave to him your labor? Do you have faith in him that he will return and bring your grain to the threshing floor? The wings of the ostrich wave proudly, but they are the pinions and plumage of love. For she leaves her egg to the earth, and lets them be warmed on the ground, forgetting that a foot may crush them, and that the wild beast may trample them. She deals cruelly with her young, as if they were not hers. Though her labor may be in vain, yet she has no fear, because God has made her forget wisdom, and given her no snare in understanding. When she rouses herself to flee, she laughs at the horse and his rider. Do you give the horse his might? Do you clothe its neck with strength? Do you make him leap like a locust? How majestic snorting is terrible. He paws in the valley and exults in his strength. He goes out to meet the weapons. He laughs at fear and is not dismayed. He does not turn back from the sword. Upon him waddle the quiver, the flashing of the spear and the javelin. With fierceness and rage he swallows the ground. He cannot stand at the sound of the trumpet. When the trumpet sounds, he says, Aha! He smells the battle from afar, the thundering of the captains and the shouting. It is by your wisdom that the hart soars and spreads its wings toward the south. It is at your command that the eagle mounts up and makes his nest on high. The rock he dwells and makes his home in the fastness of the rocky crag. Hence he spies out his prey, and his eyes behold it afar off. His young ones suck up blood, and where the slain are, there he is. Chapter 40. The Lord said to Job, Shall a fault finder contend with the Almighty? He who argues with God, let him answer it. Then Job answered the Lord, Behold, I am small account. What shall I answer thee? I lay my hand on my mouth. I have spoken once, and I will not answer. Twice, but I will proceed no more. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind. Girl up your loins like a man. I will question you, and you declare to me. Will you even put me in the wrong? Will you condemn me that you may be justified? Have you an arm like God, and can thunder with a voice like his? Deck yourself with majesty and dignity. Clothe yourself with glory and splendor. Pour forth the overflowings of your anger, and look on every one that is proud and abase him. Look on every one that is proud and bring him low, and tread down the wicked where they stand. Hide him in the dust together, bind their face in the world below. Then will I also acknowledge to you that your own right hand can give you your victory. Behold Behemoth, which I made as you, and he eats grass like an ox. Behold, his strength is in his loins, and his power in the muscles of his belly. He makes his tail stiff like cedar. The sinews of his thighs are knit together. His bones are tubes of bronze, his limb like bars of iron. He is the first of the works of God. Let him who made him bring his sword, for the mountains yield food for him, where all the wild beasts play. Under the lotus plants he lies, in the covert of the reeds and in the marsh. His shades the lotus tree cover him. The willows of the brook surround him. Behold, if the river is turbulent, he is not frightened. He is confident through Jordan, though Jordan runs against his mouth. Can anyone pierce him with hooks, or pierce his nose with a snare? Chapter 41. Can you draw out Leviathan with a fishhook, or press down his tongue with a cord? Can you put a rope in his nose, or pierce his jaw with a hook? Will he make many supplications to you? Will he speak to you soft words? Will he make a covenant with you to take him for your servant forever? Will you play with him as a bird, or will you put him on a leash for your maidens? Will traders bargain over him? Will they divide him up among the merchants? Can you fill his skin with harpoons, or his head with fishing spears? Lay hands on him. Think of the battle. You will not do it again. Behold, the hope of man is disappointed. He has laid low even at the sight of him. No one is so fierce that he dares to stir him up. Who then is it he who can stand before me? He who has given to me that I should repay him. Whatever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not keep silence concerning his limbs, or his mighty strength, or his goodly frame. Who can strip off his outer garment? Who can penetrate his double coat of mail? Who can face the open doors of his face, round his teeth in its terror? His back is made of rows of shield, shut up closely as with a seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another. They clasp each other and cannot be separated. His sneezings flash forth light. His eyes are like the eyes of the dawn. Out of his mouth go flaming torches. Sparks of fire leap forth. Out of his nostrils comes forth smoke, as from a boiling pot and burning rushes. His breath kindles coals, and a flame comes forth from his mouth. In his neck abides strength, and terror dances before him. The folds of his flesh cleave together, firmly cast upon him and immovable. His heart is as hard as a stone, hard as as hard as the nether millstone. When he raises himself on the mighty, they are afraid. At the crashing, they are beside themselves. Though the sword reaches him, it does not avail, nor the spear, nor the dart of the javelin. He counts iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. The arrow cannot make him flee. For him slingstones are turned to stubble. Clubs are counted as stubble. He laughs at the rattle of javelins. His underparts are like shot-part shepherds. He spreads himself like a threshing sled on the mire. He makes the deep boil like a pot. He makes the sea like a pot of ointment. Behind him he leaves a shining wake. One would think the deep to be hoary. That under the earth there is not like his, a creature without fear. He beholds everything that is high. He is king over the sons of pride. Chapter 42. Then Job answered the Lord, I know that thou canst do all things, that no purpose of thine can be thwarted. Who is it that hides counsel without knowledge? Therefore I have uttered what I did not understand, things too wonderful for me, which I did not know. Hear, and I will speak. I will question you, and you will declare to me. I had heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, and now my eye sees thee. Therefore I despise myself, and I repent in dust and ashes. After the Lord had spoken these words to Job, the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, My wrath is kindled against you and against your two friends, for you have not spoken of me what is right, as my servant Job has. Therefore take 7 bulls and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering. And my servant Job shall pray for you, and I will accept his prayer not to deal with you according to your folly. For you have not spoken of me what is right, as my servant Job has. So Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamanite went and did what the Lord had told them, and the Lord accepted Job's prayer. And the Lord restored the fortunes of Job when he had prayed for his friends. And the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. They came to him, all his brothers and sisters, and all who had known him before. They ate bread with him in his house, and they showed him sympathy and comforted him for all the evil that the Lord had brought upon him. But each of them gave him a piece of money and a gold ring. And the Lord blessed the latter days of Job more than his beginning. He had 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she-asses. He also had 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he called the name of the first Jemiah, the name of the second Kinzai, the name of the third Kerin Hapachu. And in all the land there were no women as fair as Job's daughters. And their father gave them inheritance among their brothers. And after this Job lived 140 years, and saw his sons and his sons' sons 4 generations. And Job died an old man and full of his days. The Psalms, Book 1, Chapter 1. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of the sinner, nor sits in the seat of scoffers, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates night and day. He is like a tree planted by streams of water, that yield its fruit in season, and its leaf does not wither. In all that he does he prospers. The wicked are not so, but are like chaff which the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish. Chapter 2. Why do the nations conspire and the peoples plot in vain? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and his anointed, saying, Let us burst their bonds asunder, and cast their cords from us. He who sits in the heavens laughs, and the Lord speaks to them in derision. Then he speaks to them in his wrath, and terrify them in his fury, saying, I have set my king on Zion, my holy hill. I will tell of the decree of the Lord. He said to me, You are my son. Today I have begotten you. Ask of me, and I will make the nations your inheritance, the ends of the earth your possession. You shall break them like a rod of iron, and dash them into pieces like a potter's vessel. Now therefore, O kings, be wise, be warned, O rulers of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear, with trembling. Kiss his feet, lest he be angry, and you perish in the way. For his wrath is quickly kindled. Blessed are all who take refuge in him. Chapter 3. O Lord, how many are my foes? Many are rising against me. Many are saying of me, There is no help for him in God. But thou, O Lord, art a shield about me, my glory and the lifter of my head. I cry aloud to the Lord, and he answers me from his holy hill. I lie down and sleep. I wake again, for the Lord sustains me. I am not afraid of 10,000s of people who have set themselves against me around about. Arise, O Lord, deliver me, O my God, for thou dost smite all my enemies on the cheek. Thou dost break the teeth of the wicked. Deliverance belongs to the Lord. Thy blessing be upon thy people. Chapter 4. Answer me when I call, O God of my right. Thou hast given me room when I was in distress. Be gracious to me and hear my prayer. O men, how long shall my honor suffer shame? How long will you love vain words and seek after lies? But I know that the Lord has set apart the godly for himself. The Lord hears when I call to him. Be angry, but sin not. Commune with your own hearts on your beds and be silent. Offer right sacrifices and put your trust in the Lord. There are many who say, Oh, that we might see some good. Lift up the light of thy countenance upon us, O Lord. Thou hast put more joy in my heart than they would have grain in the wine abound. In peace I will both lie down and sleep, for thou alone, O Lord, makest me dwell in safety. Chapter 5. Give ear to my words, O Lord. Give heed to my groaning. Hearken to the sound of my cry, my King and my God. For to thee I do pray. O Lord, in the morning thou dost hear my voice. In the morning I prepare a sacrifice for thee and watch. For thou art not a God who delights in wickedness. Evil may not sojourn with thee. The boastful may not stand before thy eyes. Thou hast all evildoers. Thou destroyest those who speak lies. The Lord abhors bloodthirsty and deceitful men. But I, through the abundance of thy steadfast love, will enter thy house. I will worship toward thy holy hill in the fear of thee. Lead me, O Lord, in thy righteousness, because my enemies. Make thy way straight before me. For there is no truth in their mouth. Their heart is destruction. Their throat is an open sepulchre, and they flatter with their tongue. Make them bear their guilt, O God. Let them fall by their own counsel. Because of their many transgressions, cast them out, for they have rebelled against thee. Let all who take refuge in thee rejoice. Let them ever sing for joy. For do thou defend them, that they who love thy name may exalt in thee. For thou dost bless the righteous, O Lord. Thou dost cover him with favor as a shield. Chapter 6. O Lord, rebuke me not in thy anger, nor chasten me in thy wrath. Be gracious to me, O Lord, for I am languishing. O Lord, heal me, for my bones are troubled. My soul also is sorely troubled. But thou, O Lord, how long? Turn, O Lord, save my life. Deliver me for the sake of thy steadfast love. For in death there is no remembrance of thee. In Sheol who can give thee praise? I am weary with my moanings. Every night I flood my bed with tears. I drench my couch with my weeping. My eyes waste away because of my grief. It grows weak because of all of my foes. Depart from me, all you workers of evil. For the Lord has heard the sound of my weeping. The Lord has heard my supplication. The Lord accepts my prayer. All my enemies shall be ashamed and sorely troubled. They shall turn back and be put to shame in a moment. Chapter 7. O Lord my God, in thee I do take refuge. Save me from all my pursuers and deliver me, lest like a lion they rend me, dragging me away with none to rescue. O Lord my God, if I have done this, if there is wrong in my hands, and I have requited my friend with evil, or plundered my enemy without cause, let the enemy pursue me and overtake me, and let him trample my life to the ground, and lay my soul in the dust. Arise, O Lord, in thy anger. Lift thyself up against the fury of my enemies. Awake, O my God, thou hast appointed a judgment. Let the assembly of the peoples be gathered about thee, and overtake thy seat on high. The Lord judges the peoples. Judge me, O Lord, according to my righteousness, according to the integrity that is in me. O let the evil of the wicked come to an end, but establish thou the righteous. And thou that triest the mind of the hearts, thou righteous God. My shield is with God, who saves me in the upright in heart. God is a righteous judge, and a God who has indignation every day. If a man does not repent, God will whet his sword. He has bent and strung his bow. He has prepared his deadly weapons, making his arrows fiery shafts. Behold, the wicked man conceives evil and is pregnant with mischief, and brings forth lives. He makes a pit, digging it out, and falls into the hole which he has made. His mischief returns upon his own head, and in his own palate his violence descends. I will give to the Lord the thanks due his righteousness. I will sing praise to the name of the Lord God the Most High. Chapter 8. O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is thy name in all the earth. Thou whose glory above the heavens is chanted by the mouths of babes and infants. Thou hast founded a bulwark because of thy foes, is still the enemy and the avenger. When I look to thy heavens, and the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast established, what is man that thou art mindful of him, and the son of man that thou dost care for him? Yet thou hast made him a little less than God, and thou dost crown him with glory and honor. Thou hast given him dominion over the work of thy hands. Thou hast put all things under his feet, all sheep and oxen, and also the beasts of the field, and the birds of the air, and the fish of the sea, whatever passes along the paths of the sea. O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is thy name in all of the earth. Chapter 10. I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. I will tell of thy wondrous deeds. I will be glad and exult in thee. I will sing praise to thy name, O Most High. When my enemies turned back, they stumbled and perished before thee. Thou hast maintained my just cause. Thou hast sat on the throne, given righteous judgment. Thou hast rebuked the nations, and thou hast destroyed the wicked. Thou hast blotted out their name forever and ever. The enemies have banished in everlasting ruins. Their city thou hast rooted out. The very memory of them has perished. But the Lord sits enthroned forever. He has established his throne for judgment. He judges the world with righteousness. He judges the people with equity. The Lord is a stronghold for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble. And those who know thy name put their trust in thee. For thou, O Lord, hast not forsaken those who seek thee. Sing praises to the Lord who dwells in Zion. Tell among the peoples his deeds. For he who avenges blood is mindful of them. He does not forget the cry of the afflicted. Be gracious to me, O Lord. Behold what I suffer from those who hate me. And who lifts me up from the gates of death, that I may recount all thy praises. that in the gates of the daughter of Zion, that I may rejoice in thy deliverance. The nations have sunk into the pit which they made, in the net which they hid with their own foot have been caught. The Lord has made himself known. He has executed judgment. The wicked are snared in the work of their own hands. The wicked shall depart to Sheol, and the nations that forget, all the nations that forget God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten, nor the hope of the poor shall not perish forever. Arise, O Lord, let not man prevail. Let the nations be judged before thee. Put fear in them, O Lord. Let the nations know that they are but men. Chapter 10. For why dost thou stand afar, O Lord? Why dost thou hide thyself in time of trouble? In arrogance the wicked hotly pursue the poor. Let them be caught in the schemes in which they devise. For the wicked boasts of the desires of the heart, and the man greedy for gain curses and renounces the Lord. In the pride of his countenance the wicked does not seek him. All his thoughts are, there is no God. His ways prosper at all times. Thy judgments are on high, out of his sight. As for his foes, he puffs at them. He thinks in his heart, I shall not be moved. Throughout all generations I shall not meet adversity. His mouth is filled with cursing and deceit and oppression. Under his tongue are mischief and iniquity. He sits in ambush in the village. In the hiding places he murders the innocent. His eyes stealthily watch for the hapless. He lurks in secret like a lion in his covert. He lurks that he may seize the poor. He seizes the poor when he draws him into his net. The hapless is crushed, sinks down, and falls by his might. He thinks in his heart, God has forgotten. He has hidden his face. He will never see it. Arise, O Lord, O God. Lift up thy hand. Forget not the afflicted. Why does the wicked renounce God and say in his heart, Thou wilt not call to account? Thou dost see, yea, thou dost know trouble and vexation, and thou mayest take it into thy hands. The hapless commits himself to thee. Those have been the helper of the fatherless. Break thou the arm of the wicked and evildoer. Seek out his wickedness till thou find none. The Lord is king forever and ever. The nation shall perish from his land. O Lord, thou wilt hear the desire of the meek. Thou wilt strengthen their heart. Thou wilt incline thy ear to do justice to the fatherless and the oppressed, so that man who is of the earth may strike terror no more. Chapter 11. In the Lord I take refuge. How can you say to me, Flee like a bird to the mountains? For lo, the wicked bend the bow. They have fitted their arrow to the string, to shoot in the dark at the upright in heart. If the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? The Lord is in his holy temple. The Lord's throne is in heaven. His eyes behold, his eyelids test the children of men. The Lord tests the righteous and the wicked, and his soul hates him that loves violence. On the wicked he will rain coals of fire and brimstone. A scorching wind shall be their portion of their cup. For the Lord is righteous, he loves righteous deeds. The upright shall behold his face. Chapter 12. Help, Lord, for there is no longer anything that is godly. From the faithful have vanished from among the sons of men. Everyone utters lies to his neighbor with flattering lips, and a double's heart they speak. May the Lord cut off all flattering lips, the tongue that makes boast great boast. Those who say, with our tongue we will prevail. Our lips are with us. Who is our master? Because the poor are despoiled, because the needy groan, I will now arise, says the Lord. I will praise him in the safety for which he longed. The promises of the Lord are promises that are pure. Silver refined in a furnace on the ground, purified 7 times. Do thou, O God, protect us. Guard us ever from this generation. On every side the wicked prowl, as vileness is exalted among the sons of men. Chapter 13. How long, O Lord, wilt thou forgive me forever? How long wilt thou hide thy face from me? How long must I bear pain in my soul and have sorrow in my heart all the day? How long shall my enemy be exalted over me? Consider and answer, O Lord my God. Enlighten my eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death, lest my enemies say I had prevailed over him, lest my foes rejoice because I am shaken. But I have trusted in thy steadfast love. My heart shall rejoice in thy salvation. I will sing to the Lord because he has dealt bountiful with me. Chapter 14. The fool says in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt, they do abominable deeds. There is none that does good. The Lord looks down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there are any that act wisely, that seek after God. They have gone astray, they are all alike corrupt. There is none that does good, no, not one. Have they no knowledge, all the evildoers, who eat at my people as they eat bread, and do not call upon the Lord? There they shall be in great terror, for God is with the generation of the righteous. You would confound the plans of the poor, but the Lord is his refuge. Oh, that deliverance for Israel would come out of Zion, when the Lord restores the fortune of his people. Jacob shall rejoice, Israel shall be glad. Chapter 15. O Lord, who shall sojourn in thy tent? Who shall dwell on thy holy hill? He who walks blamelessly and does what is right and speaks truth from his heart. He who does not slander with his tongue, does no evil to his friends, and takes up a reproach against his neighbor. In whose eyes is a reprobate is despised, but who honors those who fear the Lord, who swears to his own heart and does not change, who does not put out his money at interest, and does not take a bribe against the innocent. He who does these things shall never be moved. Chapter 16. Preserve me, O God, for in thee I take refuge. I say to the Lord, thou art my Lord. I have no good apart from thee. As for the saints in the land, they are noble, in whom is all my delight. Those who choose another God multiply their sorrows. Thy libation of blood I will not pour out, or take their names upon my lips. The Lord is my chosen portion and my cup, and thou holdest my lot. The lines have fallen for me in pleasant places. Yea, I have a goodly heritage. I bless the Lord who gives me counsel. In the night also my heart instructs me. I keep the Lord always before me, because he is at my right hand. I shall not be moved. Therefore my heart is glad, and my soul rejoices. My body also dwells secure. For thou dost not give me up to Sheol, and thy godly ones see me to the pit. Thou dost show me the path of life. In thy presence there is fullness of joy, and in thy right hand are pleasures forevermore. Chapter 17. Hear a just cause, O Lord, attend to my cry. Give ear to my prayer from the lips free of deceit. From thee let my vindication come, that thy eyes see them that right. If thou triest my heart, if thou visitest me by night, if thou testest me, thou wilt find no wickedness in me. My mouth does not transgress. With regard to the works of men, by the word of thy lips, I have avoided the ways of the violent. My steps have held fast to thy paths. My feet have not slipped. I call upon thee, for thou wilt answer me, O God. Incline thy ear to me, hear my words. Wondrously show me thy steadfast love, O Savior of those who seek refuge from their adversaries at the right hand. Keep me as the apple of the eye. Hide me in the shadow of thy wings, from the wicked who despoil me, and thy deadly enemies who surround me. They close their hearts to pity, and their mouths they speak arrogantly. They track me down, now they surround me. They set their eyes to cast me to the ground. They are like a lion eager to tear, as a young lion lurking in ambush. Arise, O Lord, confront them, overthrow them. Deliver my life from the wicked by thy sword, from men by thy hand, O Lord, from men whose portion in life is of the world. May their belly be filled with that house is stored up for them. May their children have more than enough. May they leave something over for their babes. As for me, I shall behold thy face in righteousness. When I awake, I shall be satisfied with beholding thy form. Chapter 18. I love thee, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield, the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. I call upon the name of the Lord, who is worthy to be praised, and I am saved from my enemies. The cords of death encompass me, the torrents of perdition assail me. The cords of Sheol entangled me, the snares of death confronted me. In my distress I called upon the Lord, to my God I cried for help. From his temple he heard my voice, and my cry to him reached his ear. Then the earth reeled and rocked, and the foundation also of the mountains trembled and quaked, because he was angry. Smoke went out from his nostrils, and devouring fire from his mouth. Glowing coals flamed forth from him. He bowed the heavens and came down, Thick darkness was under his feet. He rode on a cherub and flew. He came swiftly among the wings of the wind. He made darkness his covering around him. His canopy, thick clouds dark with water. Out of the brightness before him there broke through the clouds his hailstones and fires of coals of fire. The Lord also thundered in the heavens, and the Most High uttered his voice, hailstones and coals of fire. He sent out his arrows and scattered them. He lashed forth lightning and routed them. Then the channels of the sea were seen, and the foundations of the world were laid bare at thy rebuke, O Lord, at the blast of the breath of thy nostrils. He reached from on high. He took me. He drew me out of the many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy and from those who hated me, for they were too mighty for me. They came upon me in the day of my calamity, but the Lord was my stay. He brought me forth to a broad place. He delivered me because he delighted in me. The Lord rewards me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanliness of my hands he recompensed me. For I have kept the ways of the Lord, and have not wickedly departed from my God. For all his ordinances were before me, and his statutes I did not put away from me. I was blameless before him, and I kept myself from guilt. Therefore the Lord has recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands in his sight. With the loyal thou show thyself loyal. With the blameless thou dost show yourself blameless. With the snow thou dost show thyself pure. With the crooked thou dost show thyself perverse. And thou deliver a humble people, but the haughty eyes thou dost bring down. Yea, thou dost light my lamp, the Lord my God lightens my darkness. Yea, by thee I can crush a troop, and by my God I can leap over a wall. This God, his way is perfect. The promise of the Lord proves true. He is a shield for all those who take refuge in him. Who is God but the Lord? Who is a rock except our God? The God who girded me with strength and made my way safe. He made my feet like hinds' feet and set me secure on the heights. He trains my hands for war so that my arms can bend a bow of bronze. Thou hast given me a shield of thy salvation, and thy right hand supported mighty, and thy help made me great. Thou didst give me a wide place for my steps under me, and my feet did not slip. I pursued my enemies and overtook them, and did not turn back until they were consumed. I thrust them through so that they were not able to rise. They fell under my feet. For thou didst gird me with strength for the battle. Thou didst make my assailants sink under me. Thou didst make my enemies turn their backs to me, and those who hated me I destroyed. They cried for help, but there was none to save. They cried to the Lord, but he did not answer. I beat them as fine dust before the wind. I cast them out of the mire of the streets. Thou didst deliver me from strife from the peoples. Thou didst make me the head of a nation. People whom I had not known served me. As soon as they heard of me, they obeyed me. Foreigners came cringing to me. Foreigners lost heart and came trembling out of their fastedness. The Lord lives, blessed be my rock, and exalted be the God of my salvation, the God who gave me vengeance and subdued peoples under me, who delivered me from my enemies. Yea, thou dost exalt me above my adversaries. Thou didst deliver me from men of violence. For I will extol thee, O Lord, among the nations, and sing praises to thy name. Great triumphs he gives to his kings, and shows steadfast loves to his anointed, to David and his descendants forever. Chapter 19. The heavens are telling the glory of the Lord, and the firmament proclaims his handiwork. Day to day pours forth speech, and night to night declares knowledge. There is no speech, nor are there words. Their voice is not heard, yet their voice goes out through all the earth, and their word to the ends of the world. In him he has set a tent for the sun, which comes forth like a bridegroom leaving his chamber, like a strong man runs its joy with course. Its rising is from the end of the heavens, and its circuit to the ends of them. There is nothing hid from his heat. The law of the Lord is perfect, reviving the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making simple the wise the simple. The precepts of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the light. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The ordinances of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, even much more fine gold, sweeter also than honey, the drippings of a honeycomb. Moreover, by them is thy servant warned. In keeping them there is great reward. But who can discern his errors? Clear thou me from hidden faults. Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then I shall be blameless and innocent of great transgression. Let the word of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer.